Why Junto Nakatani is more dangerous than everyone thinks. The dismissal. Think of this. The consensus around Naoya Inoue has reached a point where analysis becomes nugatory. People stop thinking, they assume outcome. That's where the mistake begins. Because there's genius in boxing, but there's also creativity in how narratives are built over time. The process becomes lazy and balance disappears. And Nakatani is being reduced to a name, not a problem, not a system. And that's a flaw. That's a mistake. Think of this. When everyone agrees too early, they usually haven't watched closely enough. So how great is Inoue really? Think of this. Before we can touch on Nakatani, we need clarity. Because Inoue is not just elite, he is a genius, operating inside a violent process. His timing is precise, his balance is destructive. And his bodywork is not random, it's engineered. His punch selection shows creativity under pressure. Over time, he breaks fighters physically and mentally. So that's the reality, that's the baseline. Any observation that ignores this is very weak. Think of this, if you don't fully understand the problem, then you can't appreciate the potential solution. Nakatani's dangerous weapon. Think of this, Nakatani isn't dangerous because of one thing. It's the combination, it's the structure, it's the process. It's the southpaw stance, the wide base, the natural balance that creates time to see and time to react. And his reach is not just the length, it's the potential control. His counterpunching has creativity, his overhand left carries intent, and his inside work is underrated. This is not just chaos, this is a system, and that system can become a real problem. Think of this, when a fighter has multiple answers, he becomes unpredictable. So now we're going to transition to a talking head video to discuss this concept further.
So how do you beat Inoue? How do you beat Inoue? And let's be very clear, this is no easy task. There is no easy blueprint, but considering that Inoue is mortal, he's a human being, there must be a path. Now the southpaw jab from Nakatani, it has to be active. Not just touching, it can't just be touching, it needs to be disrupting rhythm. In other words, it needs to be breaking timing. And the left hand, the power backhand, Nakatani has to be patient. It can't be forced. If it's forced, it gets countered. So he needs to walk Inoue into that left, not chase it. Range, of course, is, if not everything, it's a major thing. If Nakatani controls the distance, if he controls the distance, he controls the counter window, and the counter window could be crucial here. It could be the difference between winning and losing. The right hook lead behind the feint, there may be something there, especially when Inoue looks to step in behind the left jab. When Inoue goes to the body, there may be a moment there. There may be a counter with the right hook. Again, it's not about theoretical implementation, it's about execution, but you have to make Inoue pay for the entry. Footwork, of course, it matters. Small half steps, subtle pressure, not reckless aggression, because reckless aggression will be punished by an elite operator like Inoue. And of course, punch selection. Punch selection matters too. Punch at the target to build points, but punch through the target when the opportunity presents itself. Think of this. This is the full IQ test. This is the full boxing ring IQ test for Nakatani. The psychological edge. The psychological edge is so important. Let me give you a reference point. When Evander Holyfield beat Mike Tyson, the psychological edge was essential. Why was it essential? Well, in a nutshell, Evander was not scared. He wasn't scared of the baddest man on the planet. In fact, Evander embraced the darkness with light, figuratively speaking, and delivered a truly sensational performance. And this is why I say that part being the psychological edge, doesn't get enough attention. Now let's talk from the Nakatani perspective. Nakatani has been hurt before. He's been hurt, he's been dropped, he's been tested, but he didn't break. Does that matter? Of course it matters, because Inoue's dominance isn't just physical, it's psychological. So it's physical and psychological. He lands one clean shot and fighters change, they hesitate, they fold. But what happens when that doesn't work? What happens when the opponent stays present, keeps thinking, keeps executing? The evidence or the reference points will indicate that Nakatani will keep trying. He won't just fold easily. And remember, the Nakatani context being the motivation. If he is able to win, he becomes elite. The torch, in a sense, will be passed, and this will transform Nakatani's career. It will transform his whole career, so he will have a purpose, a motivation, a strong desire. And you could argue that that's the unknown, and Nakatani brings that variable into the fight. Think of this. In elite boxing, the unknown is dangerous. Where Nakatani is vulnerable. Now, every boxer has a vulnerability simply because every boxer is mortal, every boxer is human, and every human will have a vulnerability. So this isn't hype, this is analysis. So just by being a human, Nakatani will have flaws. His guard can be open at times. Against average fighters, that's manageable. Against Inoue, that can be a significant problem, because Inoue doesn't need many openings. One is enough. He's fast, he has great reactions, and he has great power at the weight. The pull right hand counter is built for mistakes, and the right hand is a great weapon for southpaws if executed correctly. Now, Nakatani sometimes can go on the inside to try and land to the body and try and use those uppercuts, but that presents opportunities to counter, and Inoue will take those opportunities. So Nakatani has to be aware that when he goes on the inside, he jeopardizes his reach, and his reach is his advantage. So he needs to be very selective of when he's using his jab and when he's going on the inside, because he's presenting a big target. Now Nakatani has that overhand left. He bends his knees and throws that overhand left, and that's a huge danger. That's potentially an ending punch, a knockout punch. But he can't wait on it. He can't wait on it, because by waiting on it, he compromises his reach. And if he compromises his reach too easily, Inoue sees the shot, he counters the punch, and he will punish him. So Nakatani needs to utilize this weapon of the overhand left, but he needs to set it up in an intelligent way. And Nakatani needs to be creative, but he needs to be not too creative. He needs to be creative, but not too creative. Why? The premise here is that too much creativity can create mistakes. So if you try to punch through, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, by the time you get to phase 3, you're going to open up more counter opportunities. And that will be essential for someone like Inoue, who has the elite pedigree to capitalize. So Nakatani, historically, you could argue maybe he can get a bit careless with the entries. And if he does that, the fight can end quickly. It can end real quickly. But let's remember that Nakatani has the tools, but he has to be very considerate with regards to implementing the risk. So what does Nakatani have to do to win? What does he have to do to win? Well, he has to be absolutely precise, absolutely precise. It's not just theory, it's implementation. It's implementation that's 100% effective. But let's maybe break it down. So the first thing is he has to win the jab battle. He has to win it. Not necessarily in volume, but if it's not in volume, it's in effectiveness. So he needs to win the jab battle. Secondly, and this kind of has a relationship with the jab, he needs to use the feints constantly. If he's not using the feints, he probably won't be able to land the jab. If he's not landing the jab, he won't land the backhand. So he needs to use the feints, make Inoue react, and then make him second guess. That's really important. Third, he needs to be selective with this. He needs to attack the body effectively. But the exit needs to be clean, no lingering exchanges, because if he attacks the body ineffectively, this gives Inoue counter-punching opportunities. So he needs to attack the body, but attack it effectively if necessary. And that's based on boxing intelligence, measuring what's going on. Fourth, he needs to walk Inoue into the overhand left. Don't force it. Just when the opportunity presents it, let it go. The next thing, the fifth thing I would say, he needs to, mix the punch intent. So you need to mix it. Touch to score, So no, Lennox Lewis used to do this. Sometimes he'll tap you with the jabs and tap you with some combinations. So he might need to use that tactic at points, at points to build up points, ironically. But he also needs to drive his punches through the target to hurt. So if he's got Inoue on the ropes, that's a time when you need to mix the touching with them punching through the target to maximize the opportunity to potentially hurt your opponent, score a knockdown or get a knockout. The sixth thing, he needs to use his footwork effectively to apply pressure, but it needs to be controlled pressure, half steps and angles, not just walking into the punches. Because if you just walk forward, Inoue will just hit you with 3, 4, 5, 6 punches and then will exit. And then also finally, he needs to be able to capitalize when Inoue switches gears, because Inoue will go from 1 to 10 in milliseconds. And when he does that, Nakatani has a counter opportunity. So once Inoue goes through those phases and then wants to rest, then he needs to put the pressure on Inoue. And he needs to really fight fire with fire. So it's like, yes, you need to cover up when Inoue's unloading with explosive combinations, but then when he's finished and he's trying to get his breath, that's when you need to put on pressure. That will maximize the opportunity of hurting Inoue, limiting those offensive opportunities when he goes through the gears. And that's a really important phase. So if he can do all of those things, he will increase his chances of victory exponentially. The verdict. So what's the truth? Is Nakatani going to win? Let's be honest. Inoue has been looking sensational for a long time. He is truly an elite fighter. But the honest answer is uncertain, because there's so many things that we don't know. You could argue and make a compelling argument that perhaps Nakatani has more tools than anyone else Inoue has faced at this weight. And Nakatani has a system, he has a structure, a response, a potential response to the problem. But whether he executes it perfectly is another question. Like with anything, with any fight, any big fight in particular, there are variables. Because a fighter like Inoue, I would say that perfection is a requirement, not excellence, not effort. Perfection, or a form of perfection. You need to be operating at a completely different level or a higher level to be able to secure the victory. But ultimately, you can't dismiss Nakatani, because that would be a real mistake, because Nakatani has pedigree. He is extremely credible on a championship world level. So yes, we know that Inoue is an elite fighter. He's a fighter in another galaxy. But Nakatani has tools. Nakatani has pedigree. He has an extremely great CV. Think of this. In boxing, the fights everyone thinks are predictable are usually the ones that aren't.
So that's the end of the video. Now I'm trying to build a digital boxing community. So that means I'm interested in your comments, your questions, and your observations. Now, if you want to support the channel, simply like and subscribe. And if you want to watch more content, then click here or click here. As always, thanks for your time. It is much appreciated.